Hi there, in this screencast I'm going to show you how to set up the graphs of the square root and the cube root functions, both the parent function and the shifted function. And then we'll create sliders and I'll show you how to animate your graphs. So when I come into GeoGebra in Chrome, and make sure you are in Chrome and not the GeoGebra application. So make sure you go to Chrome and then go to Apps. So you go to Apps, you go to Math Apps, and I think you should come up by default, you should come into something that looks like this. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that the grid is showing. And then kind of center the origin in the middle of the screen. And now I'm ready to, I'm going to show you how to enter the square root function. So I'm going to go to input, and I'm going to do this entirely using the pop-up keyboard. So you don't have to type anything, just click on the keys. So I'm going to go to the alphabet and do Y, and then I'm going to go back to numbers and say equals, and then I'm going to go to A, and then I'm going to do times, and then I'm going to do the square root of, and I'm going to do X minus H, and now I'm going to click the right arrow button, and that's going to get me outside from underneath the radical symbol. And then I'm going to do, let's see, plus, then I'm going to do K, and I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to say this message should pop up that says create sliders for AHK. I'm going to do yes, I'm going to create sliders. And now let me go in and I'm going to change the thickness of this line for to make it look really nice and really obvious what's going on with the graph. So I'm going to click once on the curve, and then I'm going to right click. Now in your case, if you're using a Chromebook, you would do a two-finger click, I guess, on the touchpad. And then I'm going to pick object properties, and when I go to style, I'm going to go to the style tab, and I'm going to create the line thickness and maybe make it like 8, something like that. Alright, so that's basically the shifted function. Now let me graph the parent function. Now the parent function is going to have an a value of 1, and it's also going to have h and k values of 0. So really all we're graphing is y equals the square root of x. So I'm going to do it using the keyboard again. So I'm going to do y, and then I'm going to do equals square root of x. And now let me change that thickness as well. So I will select the line, right click, or in your case a two-finger click, go to object properties, do style, and I'm going to increase it to, let's see, what was the other one? The other one was 8. I guess I'll make this one 8 as well. Okay, and that should do it. Now let me go back into the first function, and I'm going to set A to be 1, and let me put H to 0. So to put it to 0, you can either drag the slider or click right in the area where the number is. I think you may have to double click. Yeah, you have to double click on it, and then set the values to 0. So at this point, use your keyboard, or you can just backspace using the on-screen keyboard. And now here's the important thing. once you type the number, you have to either hit enter or click the enter button here. If you don't, if you just move the cursor somewhere else, the change that you made won't take effect. So you got to make sure that you hit the enter after you do any typing and change the number. So I'm going to change K to be 0 as well, and once you do that, you'll see that really the shifted and the parent function are really essentially the same thing, because there is no shift and there's no multiplier for A, so the shape of both functions, really they're the same because they're the same function. Alright, so those are the square root functions. Now for the cube root function, it's pretty much the same thing, but just for emphasis, I'm also going to do the cube root function on this same graph, and you can do them on the same one as well if you'd like. When you're ready to do the screencast of the square root function, you'll just select or deselect the cube root function so they're not appearing on the graph when you make your screencast. So I'm going to do y equals, and then let's see. Now for the cube root, there is no cube root key. So I actually am going to have to write it as to the 1/3 power, because for those, if hopefully you remember from algebra 2 that the cube root is the same thing as raising anything to the 1/3 power. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do y equals a, and then times, and now in parentheses I want to do x, and then minus h, and then the close parenthesis, and then I'm going to hit the a to the x symbol, and then in parentheses I'm going to do 1 divide by 3. Alright, and then I'm going to click the right arrow twice, no actually 3 times, 3 times, because that'll take me outside of, first outside of the fraction, then outside of the total exponent, so that now I'm back at the same level of x minus h. And then I'm going to do plus k, and then I'm going to hit enter. Alright, so that should give me what is in the purple. And now I'm going to change the thickness of the line. So once again, click once on the line, and then do a 2-finger click or right click, go to Object Properties, and I'm going to increase the thickness to be 8. Alright, and now I'm going to go down and do the same thing for, I'm going to just enter the parent function. So the parent function is just y equals, and then it's going to be the cube root of x. So I'm going to do x to the 1/3 power. So x, and then I'm going to do the exponent symbol, and I'm going to do 1 divided by 3. Alright, and then after I do 1 divided by 3, I'm going to hit the arrow key twice, 3 times, and then hit enter. Alright, and that will do my parent function. And let's make that thick as well. I'm going to go to Object Properties and click the line thickness to 8. And you know what? Let me change the color of it. I don't like just plain black. Let's do, what do we have? Purple. Let's do blue. We don't have anything in blue yet. Okay, so now I have all of the functions I need for my screencast. So I'm now going to show you how to animate the function. So first of all, you make the function either appear or not appear by clicking on this circle over here on the left by the corresponding line. So the first thing I'm gonna do is select my square root functions. Okay, so I essentially have y equals the square root of x and in red, and y equals a times the square root of x minus h plus k in green. And I'm going to hit, now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click the animate button for A. Now so that the animation looks a little bit better, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to change the properties of the animation. So the way I do that is, let's see, I think I do, hopefully I can remember how to do this. Yes. Oh yes, I go to the slider, so I click once, I go over here to slider, and then I'm going to do -5 to +5, and let me do an increment of 0.1. Okay, and let's see then how that affects things. So now let me run that animation. So now it's going a little bit, let me change it even more. So I'm going to go and bring it up. How do I do that? Oh, maybe I do the slider. Let's see. If I go to object properties, slider, there we go. Let's do 0.01 instead of 0.1. And I think that's it. And now let me try it again. Yeah, there we go. Now it's looking nice and smooth. Let me zoom in. Okay, so that shows what happens when A changes to be between -5 and 5, where the red function is the parent function and the green function is the child function that has a different value for A. So now let me go back and I'm going to put that back, A to be 1 again. And now let me try H and K. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to its properties. Let me do -5 to 5, and let me do 0.01 as the increment. And then let me see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so you're looking at the parent function is in red, and then the shifted function, this is H shifting, and as you can see it's going left and right like it should. And then I'm going to put that back to 0, and let me do the same thing for K, which is the vertical shift. Okay, so I need to do the properties of that slider. I need to go to slider, and I need to do 0.01, and then that's gonna be it. and let me see what happens. There we go. All right, and there you have it. It shows you what happens when the value of k is modified. The graph is going to be shifted up or down. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same thing for and just show instead of the square root functions, I'm going to show the cube root functions. And I would do the same thing. I would start h and k being 0 and a being 1. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to make h and k be 0, and then I'm going to turn on the a slider. Oh, you know what? I'm not showing. Yeah, I didn't click on it there. I want to start with, go back to 1. There we go. And now I'm going to change modify a and see what happens. Good. Okay, and then if I turn on the animation for h and k, actually, you know what? Let me put a back to 0 before or a back to 1 before I turn on for h and k. All right, and now let me, yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, so that's how you set up your graphs, and once you do set them up, you're ready to go into Screencastify and well, first of all, you'll want to write a script for your screencast, unless you can do it off the top of your head live while you're making it, which probably isn't the best idea. And once you get the script ready, you can make your screencast, and I'll show you in another screencast how to do that. All right, cheers.